2. The formation of trade networks, early internationalization on both sides of the English Channel. One of the most significant transformations of the Bronze Age was a fundamental shift in how resources were positioned within society. Bronze is not a naturally occurring metal. It requires two separate minerals, copper and tin. The mining regions of southwestern Britain, particularly the tin deposits in what is today Cornwall, very likely became a critical node in Europe's Bronze Age bronze production system. The metallic origins of numerous bronze artifacts discovered on the European continent can be traced back to the British Isles through a technique known as lead isotope analysis. This tells us that 3,000 to 4,000 years ago, the North Sea and the English Channel were not barriers sealing off separate worlds, but rather a busy commercial corridor. It is worth noting that this discovery sparked an unexpectedly lively debate on social media in recent years. In 2023, a TikTok creator known as Historyhammer posted a video claiming that Cornish tin mines were the oil fields of the ancient world. Set to dramatic music, the video rapidly surpassed 20 million views. The comments section erupted into fierce argument. One camp insisted this proved that Britain was the true cradle of civilization, while the other pointed out that such nationalist readings badly distorted the archaeological evidence. The dispute spilled over onto Reddit's archaeology forum, sparking weeks of debate between scholars and enthusiasts alike. Professional archaeologists stepped in to correct the record, emphasizing that being a resource node is not the same as being a cultural center, and that the value of a trade network lies precisely in its decentralized, multipolar nature. The episode reflected a broader pattern. When ancient history collides with contemporary identity politics, the internet has an alarming tendency to become a space where historical narratives are distorted and consumed for ideological purposes. Regarding the nature of these trade networks, scholars have offered several competing interpretations. Early researchers preferred the word exchange over trade when describing the movement of resources in the Bronze Age, arguing that these activities took place primarily among elite groups, conducted through the gifting of prestige objects, with the aim of building and maintaining political alliances rather than pursuing commercial profit. This view was heavily influenced by the anthropologist Marcel Mauss and his theory of the gift economy, and it left a lasting mark on archaeological thought. In recent years, however, a growing number of scholars have begun to challenge this overly simplified binary opposition. They argue that the circulation of resources in the Bronze Age most likely encompassed elite gift exchange, specialized commodity distribution, and a wide range of forms in between, with a complexity that may have approached an early form of market system. This debate between gift economy and market economy unexpectedly found new life online. During the NFT frenzy of 2021 and 2022, countless voices on social media declared they were building a decentralized gift economy as an alternative to traditional finance. The claim quickly trended on Twitter. Critics fired back by invoking Mauss, pointing out that humanity had spent thousands of years evolving away from the gift economy toward monetary exchange, and now some people wanted to reverse course. The irony was that archaeologists were making precisely the opposite argument at the same moment, stressing that the Bronze Age gift economy was nowhere near as pure or selfless as romantics imagined. It too was shot through with power calculations and resource competition. The two debates formed a strange kind of echo across time, reminding us that humanity's confusion about the nature of exchange has never truly been resolved. The wreck site known as Langdon Bay, recovered from waters near Dorset in 2011, along with the earlier Salcombe site found in the same region, provides direct evidence of trade across the English Channel. At these underwater sites, archaeologists discovered a remarkable quantity of bronze objects including swords, axes, and sickles, whose forms clearly reflect a continental French style, while compositional analysis of the metals reveals multiple origins. These remains were most likely left behind by merchants or craftsmen who encountered a storm during transit. Their existence makes a compelling case that, at least during the Late Bronze Age, from roughly 1300 to 800 BC, the large-scale transportation of goods across the Channel was a routine activity. The Salcombe site became the center of a contentious online controversy around 2020. A group of amateur divers posted photographs on social media of objects they appeared to have privately salvaged from the same waters, tagging their posts with the phrase "My Trophy Haul." The archaeological community and heritage preservation advocates responded with outrage. The hashtag #StopLootingHistory spread rapidly across Twitter and Instagram, accumulating over 150,000 posts within 3 days. The incident eventually prompted British authorities to tighten enforcement around underwater cultural heritage. It laid bare a tension that has long existed between the public's fascination with ancient artifacts and the professional imperative to protect them. Everyone wants to touch history, but not everyone is willing to bear the responsibility of safeguarding it. At the heart of any trade network are ships. The seafaring capabilities of the Bronze Age have long been underestimated, but recent research is changing that picture. In 2012, archaeologists near Dover in southeastern England discovered a remarkably well-preserved Bronze Age boat, dated to approximately 1550 BC. The vessel was around 9.5 meters long, constructed from thick oak planks joined by tenons, and designed to function both in coastal waters and on the open sea. Experimental reconstructions demonstrated that boats of this type were fully capable of crossing the English Channel. Archaeologist Andrew Fitzpatrick argued that this discovery represented a major breakthrough in the study of Bronze Age seafaring in Britain, and that it implied cultural exchange between the two shores of the Channel was far more intimate and frequent than previously believed. The reconstruction experiment for the Dover boat itself became viral content. In 2019, a team of volunteers and craftspeople rebuilt the vessel using only original techniques, then attempted to sail it across the English Channel. The live broadcast drew over 1 million viewers on YouTube. Comments flooded in expressing amazement, with many people writing that this was better than anything they could paddle, and that their ancestors were far cooler than anyone had imagined. Yet a portion of the comments quickly drifted toward the kind of thinking promoted by ancient alien-style conspiracy theories, insisting that no prehistoric people could possibly have produced such a sophisticated vessel, and that a higher civilization must have been involved. These claims were immediately challenged by archaeologists and science communicators, but the relevant videos continued to receive traffic through YouTube's recommendation algorithm, once again demonstrating the remarkable resilience of anti-intellectual content within online ecosystems. On platforms such as Quora and Reddit, one question about Bronze Age trade has consistently captured public attention. How did ancient merchants conduct long-distance trade without written contracts, without currency, and without the protection of a state? This question cuts to the heart of economic anthropology. One compelling answer is that trading relationships were sustained through personal trust networks and the logic of repeated interaction. When exchanges between two parties occurred frequently enough, and when the social cost of breaking faith was high enough, cooperation could be maintained without any formal institution. This answer unexpectedly triggered another real-world parallel debate on Reddit. Many users drew comparisons with the trust mechanisms underpinning contemporary dark web markets, arguing that in the absence of regulation, reputation systems can sustain commercial order just as well. The thread spiraled outward into a heated discussion about whether modern financial regulation is even necessary, constantly veering off topic, yet never losing its momentum. The archaeologist Christian Christensen, in his research on Bronze Age Europe, introduced the concept of traveling craftsmen, a class of specialized metalworkers who moved across the continent, carrying techniques, styles, and objects from one region to another. These individuals were themselves nodes in the trade network and living vessels of trust. This concept has gained fresh support from the recent wave of ancient DNA research. As large-scale genomic sequencing technology became widely available, researchers were able to trace the migration routes of Bronze Age populations, finding that massive human movement and the circulation of objects occurred almost in parallel. The rise of consumer genetic testing services has meanwhile led millions of ordinary people to wonder where their prehistoric ancestors came from, a topic that has generated sustained activity on Chinese social media platforms. When a user posts their results and discovers that they carry a substantial proportion of genetic markers associated with ancient Eurasian steppe populations, the comment section typically fills with thousands of quips along the lines of "so my ancestors were international traders too." The ancient trade networks have, in this way, pierced through 3,000 years of history with a lightness that borders on the absurd, resonating with the identity anxieties and curiosity of people.